start in just a moment. And welcome to another edition of this show, which is called Rob Carson's What in the World? And it used to be called What in the World is Going On with Rob Carson. We decided that I should own it, which could be detrimental for me, but hopefully enjoyable for you. Anyway, welcome to the show. Glad to have you joining me tonight because it is a special pre-Easter edition of the show. I'm not really doing anything different. It's just the night before Easter. But anyway, we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to share some really good news, I think, with regard to coronavirus and the freakiness with regard to that. I'm going to tell you right now, here's the deal. I have not had a haircut in a while because I can't get my friggin' haircut, and I haven't shaven today. And I really haven't shaven in like a week, but I have the facial hair of a 12-year-old boy. So it takes a while to catch up. But anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Going to talk some politics. We're going to talk some pop culture. We're going to talk some common sense with regard to this coronavirus BS because I called it a month ago. I was going through my show archive. March 17th is the official, I guess, first day on the podcast that I said, this is all hooey. This is all BS. It's a lie. Come on. And I have since lost friends. I have since been derided. I've been chewed out. I have shared my opinions with some newsmakers in the country who you may be familiar with because I do have connections in talk radio nationally, and they've all been kind of scared to say, yeah, Rob's right. Rob's right. And what I have going for me, pardon the color fluctuation there, is common sense. Is common sense. From the get-go, I said this is not the bubonic plague. The bubonic plague will not happen in the year 2020. It's not going to happen. I looked at models of and data and recognized the absolute absurdity of it all immediately. And I have had people deride me and chew me out and yell at me and all this stuff. And you know what? I was right. Now, because I am fighting as an independent broadcaster, and I don't have millions of dollars to promote, and I don't have a best-selling book, and some people in the broadcast community have somehow, for some odd reason, decided not to help me out, I'm doing it on my own, without a budget. And the show is growing dramatically. I mean, and also, by the way, I might mention that Facebook is no longer shadow banning me. Now, that could happen. That could change at any time, but it's not right now. And, some great things are going to happen because of it. I did see a very nice piece today, actually on LinkedIn, by a guy named Joe Rothbauer about some of the numbers that we are experiencing in the country and how ridiculous it is for most of the country to be in a lockdown. Okay? The governor of Minnesota announced that he was extending Minnesota's stay-at-home orders until May, said he might go to June. The reasoning, models are showing over 6,000 deaths as a best-case scenario in Minnesota. That's not the case. That is not the case. Right now, in Minnesota, there are less than 40 deaths. Okay? Less than 40 deaths. New York is where the epicenter of this has happened. As of April the 8th, New York, 6,268 deaths, according to experts. And this, all deaths basically attributed, even if it's a car accident, I'm not joking, even if it's a car accident, if you test positive for coronavirus, your death will be attributed to coronavirus. All right? There are 58 counties in New York. 29 of them have counties with 0 deaths. 4,571 of the deaths have occurred in New York City, 73% of the deaths. If you add the 3 closest counties to New York City, Nassau, Westchester, Suffolk, that jumps to 95% of the deaths. Why in the hell is the rest of the state closed? It makes no sense, Marty and Glenn and Chris. Hello, and thank you for joining me. Minnesota has a population of 5.6 million. The actions taken to slow the spread haven't had an impact, and I think they're nonsense, to be quite honest, but that's okay. Minnesota had their first recorded death March 21st, 19 days after they had their 39th case. All right? So basically, a lot of the states in the country have not experienced anywhere near the death rate that New York has. I live in Kansas. I think maybe 40 people have died of coronavirus. A lot more people have died of flu. All right? This has all been nonsense. This has all been the result of too many zombie movies and pandemic movies on Netflix. That's my theory. And I'm going to stick by it. We honestly have... We've lost what I call common sense, what we used to all call common sense, which meant that everyone who had a modicum of experience on the planet, an ability to step back and go, would go, yeah, this is kind of nuts. We don't have that anymore. And consequently, the country has gone bat crap crazy. Bat crap crazy. Here is the President of the United States talking about the predicted number of deaths in the country. Now, this went from, according to the Imperial College model, up to 2.1 million people. Then Dr. Birx and Dr. Fauci said 100 to 240,000 with quarantining. Right now, we are at about 18,000 deaths, which is nothing to sneeze at. Any death is a tragedy, don't get me wrong. But there are a lot of things that kill a lot of people in our country, including the flu season. We have overreacted to this. We have shut down a country and an economy, and I don't know what the reasons are. This will all come out in the wash. Hello, Cam. This will all come out in the wash. But right now, we have to wash. In the meantime, our hands, our houses, our doorknobs, all of that stuff. Donald Trump says that we will not reach 100,000 deaths, and I agree. Here he is. I believe this is from yesterday.
Or if we did nothing, up to 2.2 million people, we're looking at a much lower level than the level of, I hope, than the level of 100,000. So we're going to see. We're going to have to. You can never do anything about the people that lost their loved ones and lost their friends, and I mean the great friendships. And I'm not sure a lot of people will ever be the same, but I think our country, from an economic standpoint, will end up being stronger than ever. We have tremendous stimulus. We have tremendous stimulus plans. We have things in the works that are going to really, I think, fire the country. I think that what's going to happen is...
Okay, it's not going to be the stimulus that does it. It's not going to be the government stimulus that does it. It's going to be Americans, like I saw today at work, saying, you know what, I'm done with this shit. I'm done with it. I'm not going to let fear rule my life. You know why? Because that's not how I roll. That's not how the country rolls, and I'm not going to do it. I've seen people all over the place come out and say, you know what, no mask. People who are not wearing masks, looking at people who are wearing masks, saying it to themselves and saying, are you out of your damned mind? Are you out of your mind? You went to the grocery store with rubber gloves on. I saw a guy the other day, and sometimes when you have like contractors in your house, they'll put little footy things on their feet. He was wearing them in the grocery store and a mask. And I wanted to say, dude, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. And I said this from the get-go, guys. I said it from the get-go. I said it on March 15th. I said, this is BS. This is BS. As the show progresses, I've got some stories that I want to share with you, and they are stories of horrific actions by government officials to take freedoms away from people. And I know that sounds cliche from a political talker, but it's very true. I've got a story of a governor in Michigan who is out of control, a governor in Kentucky who wants to record the license plates of people who go to church on Sunday, this Sunday, Easter Sunday, tomorrow morning. He is risen. I don't like to proselytize. I'm not a preacher. This is a holy weekend for me and for Christians everywhere. And by God in heaven, I will not let the government tell me I can't go worship. I had a friend today say, "Yeah, well, people can worship at home. People can worship at home." And I said to him, I said, "What happened to freedom of association? It's in the First Amendment." He never got it. I said, "Okay, so in Cuba and in North Korea and the former Soviet Union, people could worship in their homes, but not freely worship." And he was cool with it. And that's scary as hell. He was fine with religious institutions being closed. Think about this. He was fine with religious institutions, churches being closed, and we can worship at home. Okay? That's North Korean. That's Soviet Union. That's Cuba. Are you out of your effing mind, man? Do you have any idea what you've just said? And this person had no clue. Why I said, "You're crazy." The same thing happened to a dear friend of mine for over 17 years. He said, "Why can't you support the president shutting down the entire country?" I said, "I need you to back away, and I need you to think about what you are doing and who are you are putting in charge of your entire life. Are you out of your mind?" I would hope and pray that my friends will come back to me who don't agree with me, but I don't know if that's going to happen. It's sad. I said from the beginning of this would be proven to be a fallacy. This would be proven to be, there was something wrong with this. I'm going to get to some video, and I've got a bunch of stories. Hello, Rai. What up, buddy? It's good to see you. Marty, what's going on? And my buddy Jeremy, who's a freaking rock star. Donald Trump has put together an ad. This is pretty cool. This is a political story of the day. I just think it's kind of worth mentioning. Donald Trump's going after Joe Biden about how comfy he is with the Chinese government. And I hope out of all of this that we realize that the Chinese government, the only reason why it has been so successful, and I want you to quote me on this. Watch this. The Chinese economy and the Chinese government has been successful for two reasons. A, they have stolen the intellectual property of the entire world. They have no creative ideas, no original ideas in China. They have nothing. There are no innovators in China. They have no reason to innovate in China. All they can do is steal. That's what they do. That's what China does. They would still be a medieval society if it weren't for places they could steal intellectual property. The other aspect of China and why they succeed is they enslave their population. So stealing intellectual property and enslaving the population, that's what they have. That's the only reason China is supposedly a first world economy. They have done nothing. They are not innovative. They have not. Are you driving a Chinese car? Are you flying a Chinese airplane? Are you using a Chinese cell phone? What the F has China done for the world as far as invention, past the 12th century? Everything China has is because they've stolen it and they've enslaved their population to create it. Chuck Fina. That's what I have to say about China. Chuck Fina. And I hope that when this is all through, we are able to look at China and say, back to the 12th century hellhole that you are. Oh, by the way, they just decided to declassify in China this year cats and dogs as they're not livestock anymore. Yeah, first world economy. First world. Here is a new ad from Donald Trump about Joe Biden cozying up to China.
Ready to go?
This is a crisis.
This is no time
His old Uncle Joe.
for Donald Trump's record of hysterical xenophobia.
Biden's son inked a $1 billion deal with a subsidiary of the Bank of China.
China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. They're not bad folks.
Come on, man.
Since the outbreak, the Communist Party has been mobilizing overseas organizations to buy local supplies and send them to China.
It is in our self-interest that China continue to prosper.
Szechuan University. I love that university with the peanuts and the soy sauce.
What a beautiful history we wrote together. Banning all travel will not
Jeremy has just done a hashtag Chuck Fina. Thank you, buddy.
stop it.
The president is right. That travel restriction on China, every public health official we've talked to said, bought the country time.
That was a very smart move right there.
Hysterical xenophobia. Jeremiah.
Xenophobia. I thought it was xenophobia.
I complimented him on dealing with China. I'm not going nuts.
Oh, I think you're beyond nuts. I think the nuts, you're going nuts, and then there's the nuts, and you've gone past the nuts. Past the nuts. The nuts are back there. Bye, nuts. Bye, nuts. I mean, bye, nuts. They're back there. Wow. Wow. We've had two doctors saying that we should shut down the economy, despite the fact that in states like Kansas, there have been like 40 deaths from coronavirus, supposedly. Very few infections. I mean, Wyoming, nil. California, they've already beaten it. People are saying California already beat it. You know why? Because we allowed our immune systems to defeat it and not use hand sanitizer to prevent building an immunity, which is going to cause more problems. That said, Ron Paul says of the two who have constantly misled us. And I started off talking about these guys. Originally, I thought Fauci was a deep stater. I moved away from that and said, maybe not a deep stater, but certainly a career bureaucrat in Washington, D.C., and they have brought the president sad tidings of the coronavirus and how many people it would infect. Everything from 2.1 million to 240 million to 60,000, or 240,000, I should say, to 60,000. And now it's even being downgraded from there. Ron Paul, and I don't consider Ron Paul to be some sort of a I like Ron Paul. He's a little nuts. He's a libertarian. I like his son better. But anyway, here's Ron Paul saying we should fire Fauci.
He should be fired, but if you don't do it in the literal sense, the people have to fire him. Yeah. And they have to fire him by saying he's a fraud. Yeah. He doesn't give us any good information. They didn't save us from ourselves. And his plan to give us total control of everybody and getting the plan that they have is when things are getting back to normal. Yes, people can return to their work and they do things and go to the golf course. If you get a stamp of approval, your liberties are there if you get the proper.
Whoa! What did you say? The government, the Constitution already grants liberties. It already granted it over 200 years ago. And now the government is saying that we will re-grant them.
Stand from the government and say that, well, you're free of spreading any disease. But as this one goes away, they'll come up with another one. It's just,
that's what I've been saying, guys. That's what I've been saying. If you allow them this sort of freedom to attack our liberties, then what about the next supposed pandemic? And by the way, this pandemic is a fart in the wind.
Excuse to have total control over the people. But I think the most important thing is people have to quit listening to him. If they're going to listen to him critically. You know, what is he saying?
Imagine that. Listening critically. Using the thing called common sense. Common sense. which I did a month ago. It didn't make any sense. None of the numbers added up. If you look at the great pandemics of history, this is a pinprick. Democrats say really stupid crap. This is a pretty cool montage featured on Blaze TV about some of the stupid crap that has been said by Democrats. And yes, I consider Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx to be Democrats.
So I think in this country, we've taken a very liberal approach to mortality. And the intent is right now that those,
what is a liberal
if someone
approach
dies
to
with
mortality?
COVID-19, we are counting that as a COVID-19 death.
John, if back to normal means acting like there never was a coronavirus problem, I don't think that's going to happen until we do have a situation where you can completely protect the population.
It is fair to say things won't go back.
And Bill Gates is suddenly a sage with regard to immunity and pandemics. Dear God, he wasn't even the lead guy with regard to Apple.
To truly normal.
Steve Jobs was the guy. He's a second stringer.
Until we have a vaccine that we've gotten out to basically the entire world.
I just want to make a brief comment to get back to the discussion about the health disparities in the African American community, because it really is very important.
Those who have always been at the short end.
Oh, she's just a genius.
Of the stick in a moment of crisis, it becomes even more evident, and in this case, even more fatal. So we've long had, historically, because of a number of issues that are about systemic and institutional racism and just inequities across.
It's racism.
The board.
You know the old expression about snitches? Well, in this case, snitches get rewards.
We should be making it easier.
That literally saying that if you snitch on people who maybe are having parties of over 10 people in their homes, I mean, this is Soviet Union kind of crap.
Harder to make sure.
Blah, 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 but Joe Biden, you don't even know which way you're looking. I mean, honestly, you could be facing the other direction, and you'd think you're looking at the camera.
To make sense, let me put it another way. It makes no sense.
So we just heard that these models showing death projections in the United States have fortunately been revised downward.
That's good news, but the thing we have to be careful of, that we don't then take that good news to think that we might be able to pull back a bit. We've got to continue, in many respects, to redouble.
We have got to continue to trample on people's liberties and keep them at home.
Our efforts at the mitigation of physical separation in order to keep those numbers down and hopefully even get them lower.
The next package, this is already being discussed, should include student debt relief for at least $10,000.
Yeah, that has something to do with the crisis of saving lives.
$10,000 per person.
To center,
oh my God, it's Lex Luthor's wife.
The humanity of every individual, family, and worker. And
I think she actually part-time as a mannequin.
Includes not leaving behind our undocumented and our uninsured.
And I don't think it's actually an overstatement to say that Donald Trump there are tens of thousands of people who will die in the country.
Is this Donnie Douche? I think it's Donnie Douche from MSNBC.
Some of them have already died. More are still going to die because of Donald Trump's incompetence and lack of leadership.
These additional deaths, many of them are unnatural.
Oh, dear God, I can't take any more. I can't take it. Hello, Dan. How are you? Welcome to the show. There is no reason for this. There is no reason with regard to our history. When you look at the history of the United States of America, World War II, World War I, the Civil War, 9/11, we have never responded like such pussies in our history. And we've allowed it to happen. Quote me on that, please. This is an insult to our history. This is an insult to our founding, that we are such pussies. Honestly, I don't like that word. I don't like that word. I don't. I never have. But honestly, dear God, are you kidding me? This is a food line in San Antonio. This is all 100% self-inflicted. San Antonio Food Bank distributed 1 million pounds of food to roughly 6,000 families in a single day, as millions across the country turned to charity organizations to avoid going hungry. This is all self-inflicted. This is all bullcrap. Families in need waited for hours to get their hands on fresh fruit, vegetables, and other non-perishable goods that have become hard to find in traditional stores as panic buying leaves stores empty. This is a mega giveaway in San Antonio. This is happening all over the country. This is nonsense. These people who are waiting in line should be able to go to work and buy their own food. And the government has done this to us. It is nonsense. Do you hear that? To the people who have ostracized me and yelled at me because I'm not a national network show. Oh, I will be. I will be. I'm not Rush Limbaugh. I'm not Mark Levin. I'm not Chris Plant. I'm not Jim Bohannon. But I'll tell you, several of those people have been listening to what I have to say and now are echoing those sentiments. And the reason being is I don't have cred as a national host, but I do have cred as a host and somebody who has exercised common sense throughout his career and said things that are right, using common sense, using thought and research. Will I be remembered as the guy who said bullcrap? Depends on how many people hear me, you know. All right, let's move on. Oh, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. In Greenville, Mississippi, Temple Baptist Church, they wanted to have a simple worship service where people rolled up their windows and listened to the pastor in the parking lot via a low power FM signal, and they were ticketed $500 apiece. This is not America. This is not America if you can do this. I know that law enforcement has rules to follow, but dear God in heaven, this is not America. And if we allow this to happen, and it happens again, it's over. It's over. Here's a little footage from somebody who was in their car who got a citation for showing up at church with their windows closed to hear the message of Christianity en masse. Even though we're not sitting in the same pew, freedom of association, and that was forbidden.
She saw how they handled themselves. Hey, how you doing, sir?
I think I should say verboten. It's not forbidden, it's verboten. Welcome to Nazi Germany.
I'm giving you an opportunity to move city ordinance right now. We're giving citations. This is a gathering, even though you're in your vehicle. If I can see your license, sir, I give you the opportunity to move now.
The minister went to the house of the Lord. The way the servant went to the house of
He's driving a Toyota Camry SE.
Lord. Listen, it was.
I know this because I sell cars on the side.
It meant something to me. You know, I just love to go to church.
So he's trying to listen to his pastor in the parking lot with the windows rolled up. And a police officer arrives. I don't know this police officer. I don't think he's a member of the Gestapo. I have a feeling he has no idea what he's doing. He has no idea the freedoms that he's trampling on. He has no idea the history of the country and why we were founded. It was originally freedom of expression, freedom of religion. He has no idea that he's whizzing on it. Honestly. We cannot go quietly into the night on this. If we do, it's over. The great American experience is over if we allow this to happen, and it would be the greatest tragedy in the history of mankind. It would be the greatest tragedy in the history of mankind because there has been no greater beacon for freedom and economic success than the United States of America. There has been no more benevolent society. There has been no more society that has freed more people in the history of mankind than the United States of America. And I do not say this. I do not say this errantly. I do not say this to provoke. I'm telling the truth. In Boston, they want to keep problems. They want to keep people from infecting each other, so they're doing one-way sidewalks. One-way sidewalks. So you can't walk on the same sidewalk. You got to walk in the other direction. This is completely effing retarded. Okay, this is completely stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's idiotic. One-way sidewalks. This is beyond stupid, because people can still be on the same sidewalk and they can walk by another person on the same sidewalk going this way versus the other sidewalk. Are you out of your effing mind as a police officer saying, "Hey man, one-way sidewalk. This is Boston. I don't even know how to do a Boston." Hey, you can't. I don't even know how to do a Boston accent. $100 fine. $100 fine if you're not walking on the right side of the sidewalk. I honestly, wow. I would laugh at it if we're laughable, but it's not funny anymore. Any Kentuckian caught attending a mass gathering over Easter weekend will have their license plate number recorded by the state police. Did you hear what I just said? Will have their license plate number recorded by the state police and will be forced into a 2-week quarantine, according to Democrat Governor Andy Beshear. This man needs to be drummed out of office when this is all over. This SOB that would grab something like this in a time of our greatest need needs to be drummed from office, needs to be ridden out of town on a rail. Folks, we shouldn't have to do this. The governor said of the order, reporting that 90 people in Kentucky, I used to live in Kentucky, a state of millions of people, have died from the ongoing COVID-19 epidemic. I think it's not a test of faith whether you're going to an in-person service. It's a test of faith that you're willing to sacrifice to protect your fellow man, your fellow woman, your fellow Kentuckian, and your fellow American. Oh, he's trying to be patriotic here, even though he's trampling on our liberties. Unbelievable. He received pushback on his order from fellow Kentuckian and COVID survivor Rand Paul, who reacted to the governor's move in a statement saying taking license plates at church, quarantining someone for being Christian on Easter Sunday. Somebody needs to take a step back here, and I agree, and they need to take a step back, and they need to kick the governor in the ass like a punt on a football field. Take a step back and kick him in the ass out of office. Oh, it gets better. Now there's a case of a first responder, someone who's working in an emergency room in Florida, having her daughter taken away from her with regard to custody because she's treating people possibly with COVID. She's having her kid taken away. Are you out of your mind? Hello, Monty. How are you? I'm not going to do that story. Woman has been arrested in, Lima? Is it Lima, Ohio? No, California. Sorry. California, 53-year-old Jennifer Walker. And I think there are some things that happen with people when they are driven to the point of insanity by regulation. Some people have gone nuts on airliners because of all the restrictions we have when we fly on an airline flight, and we're so terrified of getting on a plane that it might be taken over by terrorists and all this stuff, and people just go nuts. There's a point where you just kind of go nuts. Woman in California arrested for licking items and causing a loss of $1,800 worth of merchandise. Either that or she has kind of a fetish for groceries. Hard to say. Was it cucumbers? Anyway, police found her in a store with a grocery cart full of items, including jewelry, alcohol, and souvenirs. with no means of paying for them. Oh, she wanted to get them free, I guess, because she was licking them. Here's the story. Here's the story.
A local woman accused of licking items at a grocery store in the middle of this pandemic. Police say 53-year-old Jennifer Walker put her...
Nice birthmark there. Kind of like a melatonin version of Cindy Crawford.
...tongue on more than $1,800 in merchandise at the Safeway store in South Lake Tahoe. All of those items, of course, had to be thrown away, and she is now facing felony charges because of it.
Oh, Lake Tahoe. Sorry, I didn't know it was that. I thought it was like in California. Whatever. Here's a bit of good news. Some would-be robbers decided to go to a house in Arlington Heights, Illinois, near Chicago. They wanted to rob the place. Now, I had heard from a friend of mine that these people knew the people in the house and had heard there were $200,000 in cash in the house, regardless. Bradley Finnan, 38, Larry Brodax, 58, approached the home in Chicago wearing masks, gloves, baseball caps, and black jackets, barged into the home. Homeowner's wife told police she saw men with guns in her foyer. Before one of them chased her upstairs, she hid in the children's bedroom. This guy, the 58-year-old, smashed through the door, snatching the couple's son and daughter before pinning them on the bed, pointing a gun at them. Okay? Apparently somebody in the house, presumably one of the homeowners, shot the bastard dead. The other one escaped the house but was chased down. The younger Bradley Finnan chased down and had the snot beat out of him. Here is the video from the doorbell camera. This should happen to all strong arm robbers. Let's go rob the place. Come on, I got my bag here, got my mask, got my gloves. Okay, let's go in. Let's terrorize some people. Let's see what happens. It's getting ugly in there. And now I'm going to kick your ass. Boom, boom, bang, 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 bang. Bye, 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 bye. And the other guy is dead. Too bad. Too bad, so sad. Oh, and by the way, the guy who survived, he's being charged with the murder. I love it. I love it. The guy who survived, the 38-year-old. Oh, let me show you his mugshot. Look at that. He looks like Michael Bublé. He looks like Michael Bublé. Oh, my God, my friend got killed, and I'm such an idiot, and now I'm going to spend the rest of my life in jail. He does look like Michael Bublé, doesn't he? Yeah. Bradley, you're going to jail for life. Your friend Larry is dead, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Lair. Bye-bye, Michael. Have fun in prison. You'll be very popular, very pretty. Okay. Surgeon General of the United States has been responding to charges of racism. He used racially charged language because he used language to describe his parents and words that he used in his house. He's saying that people are saying he's racist. Now, there's this PBS reporter, her name is Yamiche Alcindor, and she's incendiary, and she's a piece of crap, and she's a politico. And she decided to approach and go after the Attorney General or the Surgeon General of the United States for saying that he calls his parents, his mother, Big Mama, and his dad, Big Pop. Here she is being shot down.
Thank you, Mr. Surgeon General. Thank you. I have a quick question for you. You said that African Americans and Latinos should avoid alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. You also said do it for your abuela, do it for Big Mama, and Pop. There are some people already. There are some people online that are already offended by that language and the idea that you're saying behaviors.
Who the F cares about being offended right now? Except for you giant turd from PBS.
Might be leading to these high death rates. Could you talk about whether or not could you, I guess, have a response for people who might be offended by the language?
Who gives a rat's ass? Who's offended? Who's offended?
That you used?
Well, I use that language because that's the language. I've been meeting with the NAACP, with the National Medical Association.
And maybe that's because he's a black guy. Shh, don't tell anybody. He's a black guy.
Others, I actually talked with Derek Johnson multiple times this week, the head of the NAACP, and we need targeted outreach to the African American community, and I use the language that is used in my family. I have a Puerto Rican brother-in-law. I call my granddaddy. I have relatives who call their grandparents Big Mama. So that was not meant to be offensive. That's the language that we use.
And if it is, F you.
And that I use, and we need to continue to target our outreach to those communities. It is critically important that they understand it's not just about them. And I was very clear about that. It's not just about what you do, but you also are not helpless. We need to do our part at the federal level. We need people to do their parts at the state level, and we need everyone. Black, brown.
You know, I guess I don't understand. As a black guy offering black advice to the black community, it'd be like me as a white guy telling the white community, hey, here's the deal. You're over 40. Do you need to dance? Do you need to dance? When you do dance, biting the lip, it's not good. It's not good. I'm just going to offer that advice to the white community. Are you going to be, honestly, you're going to be offended by that? I called my mom, and my dad's dead, but I called him dad. Is that offensive? Yeah. You don't dance, really, honestly, if you don't have to, and when you do, don't bite your lip. Kind of the same advice here, essentially, except from a black guy. I'm not going to offer advice to the black community, and not, I'm not a black guy. So what am I going to say? I don't know. Teresa Green, emergency room physician in Florida, temporarily lost custody of her 4-year-old daughter. Her husband filed for temporary custody of the girl because due to mother's significantly heightened exposure to the COVID-19. Judge granted it, even though Green has tested negative. Green is now facing an impossible and cruel choice between being a mother and her duty as a medic. While the U.S. healthcare system buckles under the weight of the pandemic and grapples to find enough healthcare workers. That's nonsense, actually. That's nonsense. We've got plenty of them. We're on the front line. We're risking our lives, and to take our children away from us is just cruel. Green said the move is discriminatory against healthcare workers who are divorced or sole carers. And this is true. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. It's cruel, and it's awful. Because if this is the case, then you should be able to take your children away from you if you're in the healthcare industry at any time at all. Again, this is taking the freedoms that we have and trampling them. And to take a child away from her mother because her mother is battling a pandemic in a hospital and saving lives. I don't know how it gets worse than that. I really don't know. How does it get worse than that, Alan? How does it get worse than that, Monty? How does it get worse? You're God in heaven. Excuse me. Children as young as 12 now face fines for violating safer at home ordinances. WLKT-TV, I believe this is Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Yes, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. If your children are out playing in parks, $90 for children ages 12 to 13, $187 for children 14 to 16, $313 for offenders 17 years or older. Parents and guardians could be cited for children's actions in certain circumstances. Police Chief William Lamb, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, told the station, which is WLUK-TV, the ordinance was adopted this week as an alternative to filing criminal charges through the Fond du Lac District County Attorney's Office. The letter from the Department of Health says, prohibited activities, use of playgrounds, use of sports, play, or recreational equipment such as basketball courts, cruising or hanging out with friends in any type of group, large or small, group gatherings, including parties or cookouts. Dear God in heaven, what are you thinking? Group gatherings, including parties or cookouts. According to the letter, the order states that all public and private gatherings of any number of people that are not a single part of a single household or living unit are prohibited, except for the limited purposes expressly permitted by this order. Nothing in this order prohibits the gathering of members of a single household or living unit. And I say to you, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, suck it. And if I lived in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, I would be raising holy mother effing hell right now. My God in heaven. My God in heaven. What are we thinking? The insane governor of Michigan is saying that you cannot go to Home Depot and Lowe's to buy flooring, anything for your garden, or plant nurseries. This is according to Governor Whitmer. Now is not the time to pull back at all. It's the time to identify. That's exactly what we're doing. This doesn't mean that everything is going back to normal on the 30th of the month. However, we do know for the next 3 weeks we have to take these important actions. You can't go buy a car seat for your kid in Target or Walmart. This Gretchen Whitmer needs to be voted out of office. She needs to be removed from office. She has said that Michigan residents will no longer be able to jump in a car, cross the street to visit friends or relatives inside the state, or go to a cottage up north. Stay home order is going to expire May the 1st. Travel between Michigan, two Michigan residences has been prohibited beginning today. All public and private gatherings of any size are prohibited. This psychotic cow of Satan needs to be voted from office. Yeah, I said psychotic cow of Satan. She's a psychotic cow of Satan. Goodbye. GTFO. Goodbye. No, this is good. Guy goes onto a bus in Philadelphia. He's just riding the bus. That's what he does. That's how he gets around. He rides a bus. Probably doesn't have a lot of money. Goes for a bus ride. He is approached by the police. Here he is. This is the police officer approaching this man on the bus for having the audacity to not have a mask on his face.
On public transportation, if you do not have a mask, you cannot ride public transportation, sir. Sir, you have to get off the bus. You have to get off the bus.
It's got to be good news for bank robbers, right? It's got to be good news for bank robbers. You can go to any bank right now, and if you don't have a mask on in Montgomery County, Maryland, you know, this is really cool. You can go into a bank in Montgomery County, Maryland, and rob the effing bank with a mask on your face, because otherwise you get ticketed for not wearing a mask.
Sir. Sir.
This is where it's going to get ugly. It always does. Like, this is effing important. Honestly, if you got on a bus in 1988 and you weren't wearing a condom, do you suppose they could have got you for possibly spreading AIDS?
You gotta get off the bus, man.
You gotta get off the bus.
Take you off, one or the other.
You gotta find a way home. Uber's not available now. You're gonna have to walk.
You have to get off. You have to get off. You have to get off. Let's go. I have to get off? Yes, sir. Even though I had it.
I think if you repeat it 3 times, you have to do it. It's like dessert when you're Swedish. It's like, you want some cake? No. You want some cake? No. Are you sure you don't want some cake? No. This way, it's like, you got to get off, you got to get off, you got to go off, or we're going to do this to you. Yeah, we're going to actually forcibly remove you from the bus.
Guys, want a taser?
Are you sure you don't want some cake? Okay, we're just going to beat the snot out of you. How many people does it take to remove a guy who's not wearing a mask from a transit bus? About a half a dozen.
Yo, you're gonna feel this, man. Look what the fuck y'all calling me, dumbass.
Oh, pardon the language.
Get out. Get the fuck off my fucking leg.
Wow. Welcome to America 2020.
Take me if you fucking want. Where the fuck? Close this door, man. Fucking pussy ass.
Have a nice walk home.
I want all your
Bye.
fucking badge numbers too.
Protect and serve. Take care. Achtung. Heil Hitler. Wow. Surfers are not happy. California, because they can't even actually literally go into the ocean when they're by themselves. You can't go into the ocean off the coast of California on a effing surfboard by yourself. Are you going to get the corona to a shark or a seal? Here's a surfer dude who would have absolutely nothing to do. This is in San Diego. Population of 3.5 million people. Has a total of 36 coronavirus deaths. This apparently is a serious enough crisis to strip everybody of their rights to associate or go to jail for 6 months or be fined $1,000. Here is a surfer dude. Not too happy about it, and he's right.
I'm protesting the fact that, for one, the government is our local government.
Because you have not found a better piece of cardboard and some paint that you can actually see. That aside, go ahead.
Governments are not allowing us to
Says commies can't surf. The man's right.
enjoy the things we like to do, but are allowing other people, like people behind me, walk the streets, jog, bike, and be
He is going to use the word like a lot. Just put that aside. He's actually making a great point.
within close proximity to each other, which is dangerous.
But they won't let you go out and catch a wave.
No, I can't go catch a wave. No, that's illegal.
And you know, if you catch a wave, you're sitting on top of the world.
I will get a $1,000 fine or
Dated reference to the Beach Boys there.
go to jail.
And what have your friends in the surfing community have been saying?
Well, majority of my friends think it's a complete load of horse shit. Excuse my language. But then I've seen a lot of people in the surf community that are just laying down and taking it, and they don't think it's a big deal.
And there's a lot of people around the country who are laying down and taking it, or actually more apropos, bending over and taking it.
Just getting their rights stripped of them.
Are you surprised that the surfing community...
Dude, this guy is like totally wise beyond his total years, dude.
He's just falling back and just waiting?
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I think if it was the surf community of years ago, they would be like rock and roll and, screw this. But nowadays, there's just a bunch...
Because they're all a bunch of pussies.
It's lame. And everybody's just, whatever.
Now give that homeless person back his shelter.
I won't surf for a couple weeks or a couple months. Clearly you don't like to surf that much if that's your MO.
All right. Far out. Excellent. Kill. Very nicely said, actually. Okay. No crisis would be complete without a fight at Popeye's Chicken. I don't know what this is all about, but Virginia area Popeyes. Now, there was a stabbing and somebody died because of the chicken sandwich that nobody could get a hold of earlier this year. Not sure exactly what this is all about, but it had something to do with the fact that people can't go into Popeyes and order a chicken sandwich. I guess somebody decided they needed to go inside and order a chicken sandwich because, the seats in Popeyes are so comfortable. And honestly, like my anniversary is today, and if I could, I would go to Popeyes, just a candlelight and a little champagne, and then have a chicken sandwich. So here's this is an altercation in a Richmond Popeyes, presumably brought about by coronavirus. This is apparently shared by WorldStarHipHop.com, which, I've been following those guys for years. Actually, never. Man, they're just beating the crap out of you. Look at that. It's like bang, 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 bang. Who are they hitting now? Do you want fries with that? Do you want fries with that? All right. I'll get you some more sauce. Whatever. Get out of here.
Will you bring it out? Bring it out. I have employees and
But you know what? I've had that chicken sandwich, and I'm going to tell you right now, worth it. Worth it. Alex Jones is a nutbag. He is a nutbag. He's been a nutbag forever. He's making a lot of money being a nutbag. If I were to make millions of dollars, all I have to do is like sell my entire soul and do what Alex Jones does, which is be completely insane. He has been told that his support of the colloidal silver supplement that he sells on his show, because nobody will buy advertising because he's a nutbag. He says that these products boost the immune system and kill all viruses. I believe Jim Baker, the televangelist, is also saying the same thing. He was sent a letter by the FDA on Thursday to pull down all of the products from his site or post a disclaimer. He chose to post the disclaimer. The 4 products that Alex Jones promotes on his show, and if you watch Alex Jones and give him any credibility whatsoever, you're an idiot. Super Blue Silver Immune Gargle. I think if I had a band name, I might do Super Immune Silver Immune Gargle. Yeah, maybe. That or Pector Alice, I think. Super Silver Whitening Toothpaste. Super Silver Wound Dressing Gel. And Super Blue Fluoride-Free Toothpaste, because you don't want to have fluoride because that's a government plot. Yeah, God, Alex Jones, get some freaking medication or lock the son of a bitch up. They contain colloidal silver, a liquid that consists of tiny silver particles. It is often promoted online as a dietary supplement, but there has been little conclusive evidence as to its benefits. And I believe also they have a schnapps, it's called Goldschlager, that has little gold chips in it that you know, it's not worth anything, but your poo looks really good the next day. Yeah. Wow. A car maker in India has created a coronavirus-shaped car to raise awareness about preventing infections because, you know, honestly, we had no awareness of this. Custom-made automobile was unveiled on Wednesday in Hyderabad and is reported by the Indo-Asian News Service. Here is the new, and this could catch on maybe. This could catch on. I did a little joke there. This could catch on a virus. Yeah, here's the car. Not thinking it's the most aerodynamic. Glad it's not a sexually transmitted disease. Apparently, it's a single-seater car that has a 100 cubic centimeter engine, 6 wheels, and a carbon fiber body. It can approach speeds of, are you ready for this? A breathtaking 25 miles per hour.
So I thought I'll make something like coronavirus and show to the people that the dangers of the coronavirus and stay.
Well, thank God you're wearing that mask because you might catch your car.
Inside, be safe. This is a complete car with suspension, steering, and it
at a top speed of 25 miles an hour, almost actually 1/4 of the speed of a sneeze.
6 wheels. It can go up to 40 kilometers speed. We are going to take it around the city and get awareness of the danger of coronavirus.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much aware. Thank you there, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. Ohio Health Department has released a PSA using ping pong balls to remind people of the dangers of not practicing social distancing. Of course, this is completely inflammatory and nonsensical, but it didn't stop the health department from releasing it. Honestly, this is beyond stupid, but I'm going to go ahead and play it for you anyway. If one of your balls drops into coronavirus, it'll get snapped off. I think that's the message. Keep your balls separately. There you go. Okay, if you don't put your balls near other balls, then you're absolutely cool. Let's watch that again. Hold on. If you keep your balls together, they'll be snapped off. Yeah, trust me. I went through this when I got married. And everybody dies and your balls get snapped off. But if you don't do it, your balls stay intact. There you go. Thank you, Ohio Health Department. Appreciate it. Wow. That's really stupid. That's really stupid. It's a really poor analogy. Okay? Somebody's balls coughing on somebody else's ball. Okay, I've had enough of the balls. Look at a couple more stories I want to share with you. I want to remind you, by the way, see this company right here? Hendrick Toyota in Merriam, Kansas. If you're looking for a car, whether it be new or pre-owned, that's where I work. That's where I work, on the side. We are open for business. We are very cleanly. We are very much into the hygienic thing. We don't even take car test drives with you anymore. Just get in the car and drive. It's yours. We'll take care of you. Okay? You won't catch anything. Come by and join me. If you're looking for a car, pre-owned or new, it's a great company. It is a great company. It really is. Bill Maher occasionally gets something right, and for that he's given a gold medal. A lot of the things that he says on the show that occasionally make sense are when he recognizes common sense. He doesn't recognize that very often. This is a Twitter video of Bill Maher without a studio audience where he actually makes sense and appears to be relatively lucid for the first time. And, of course, he'll get a medal for it, even though the rest of us usually recognize this as common sense any other time, talking about the naming of the Wuhan virus and other things.
And finally, new rule, you can't yell at someone for breaking a rule you just made up. Scientists, yes, scientists who are generally pretty liberal, have been naming diseases after the places they came from for a very long time.
This is Bill Maher a good 3 weeks after I talked about this on my show.
Zika is from the Zika forest, Ebola from the Ebola River, hantavirus, the Hantan River. There's the West Nile virus and guinea worm and Rocky Mountain spotted fever and, of course, the Spanish flu.
And boogie fever, named after Boogie. I think it's a place somewhere.
MERS stands for Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. It's plastered all over airports and no one blogs about it. So why should China get a pass?
Let's move forward.
Dr. Fauci says we should force a global closure of the wet markets because the current crisis is a, quote, direct result of them. On Monday, the UN's acting head of biodiversity said the same thing. So when someone says, what if people hear Chinese virus and blame China? The answer is we should blame China, not Chinese Americans. But we can't stop telling the truth because racists get the wrong idea. There are always going to be idiots.
Wow, bravo. Bill Maher shows a little bit of common sense, and now we're giving him lots of credit for it. Bill Maher, I guess, pretty funny guy. Not a big fan. I think he's kind of a D word for Richard. But isn't it amazing when a liberal shows a modicum of common sense, they get a gold medal. The rest of us, pretty much, we just do it. Finally, a chef demonstrating surreal chopping skills. This is cool because I'm a foodie. I'm a big foodie. I love to cook, and I'm actually cooking for my wife tonight. It's our anniversary, 22 years. I'm very blessed. We're having foie gras and some delicious French bread and some steaks, among other things. Quick Food Tricks is the name of the site that he's on YouTube. Quick Food. No. It's not. It's You Suck at Cooking. This is really funny. Enjoy this, okay? And it's going to be on my Facebook page at Rob Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson. It's pretty funny. Watch this. These are chef's mad cooking skills, and enjoy.
So what you want to do is just line up your hand and give it a good...
Oh, there you go.
We'll smash up some broccoli and throw a handful of that in there. We're going to grab this. We're going to start breaking it down into its basic components.
Yeah.
Now this is an okay size, but we're probably going to want to go one level deeper.
Brussels sprouts into peas.
Not the texture you want in a salad.
Wasabi.
You can also just take a big ass carrot and smash it against the wall.
There you go.
The forearm.
There
we go.
Boom.
I'm going to take a handful of peanuts and then just crush those into peanut butter.
I saw the other.
I'm going to grab some broccoli, give that a good whack. Just take one large string bean and just give it a firm
cucumber. I love it.
And place your onion underneath it, then push until it comes
Nice.
through. Or if you're quick enough, you can do the falcon chuck.
Nice.
It's okay, it's just me. So you can drop a flying elbow from the top rope.
This.
And give that a good roll.
Oh,
then you want
nice.
to take an extra large size radish and also give that a nice shove.
It's that pomegranate, actually.
Fun fact about radish is, this is where red Skittles come from.
Nice.
Arrange your tomatoes in a sound wave formation, then give the old counter a pounder.
That's
We're gonna
fantastic.
take some Parmesan cheese, get that grated into smithereens. We're gonna crack open a couple of mayo pods. Usually 2 is enough to get a half cup. Now you're gonna need a leek. Okay, I got the pedometer fired up, and we're just gonna find ourselves a nice, juicy
potato.
If you only have these super baby carrots, you can compress them with your hands until you get one biblically correct size carrot.
Nice,
Some people
nice.
don't want to aqua bake because they're worried their potatoes will get wet, which is silly because potatoes are waterproof. See? We'll take the first one and just crack that open. And 1 cup of chopped walnuts. That's had the daylight scared out of it. Your block of mozzarella.
Come on.
And just drop that on there. We're gonna make some fresh, pressure distilled rum. If you can't get the fresh stuff, go ahead and buy a bottle of the stuff from the store or from your local.
Okay, this is genius. I love this. This is fantastic. Okay, it's time for me to go. I want to thank you for joining me tonight, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope that I've been able to give you some entertainment and also some common sense through this this pandemic we are suffering through. Again, Hendrick Toyota Miriam. If you want to follow me on Facebook, Rob Carson Show, you got it. If you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's at Rob Carson Show. Rob Carson Show on YouTube. A lot of people are catching on. A lot of people are watching the show. And I greatly appreciate it. And on all sorts of audio media, the oral portion of the show is available, including iTunes and iHeartRadio, among others. And that's growing as well. So if you want to write me personally, carsonontheradio@gmail.com. Happy Easter. For the first time in my lifetime, churches are shuttered on Easter. Some people are saying, nah, not going to allow that to happen. I live in Kansas, near Kansas City, and state lawmakers told the governor to stick it. And they're having church tomorrow. When things turn out, when this is all over, we're going to look back and hopefully we will say, we can return to normal. There's no new normal bullcrap. I decry that. There is no such thing as new normal, and I say bullcrap. We return to normal and free. God bless you guys. Happy Easter. I'll see you soon.